Single dad Daniel Voss sat alone at a wedding, staring out at a celebration that only seemed to magnify his own losses. The grand ballroom glittered with champagne flutes and crystal chandeliers, filled with wealthy families and guests wrapped in designer gowns and expensive watches. But Daniel occupied the farthest edge of the room, well away from the laughter and the music. His navy suit was clean and neatly pressed, yet the sleeves had faded with age, and one mismatched button revealed a small imperfection that only he would notice. No one in that crowd could see the truth beneath the jacket, that this man had spent the last 3 years fighting every single day just to keep a roof over his young daughter's head. No one knew that the worn photograph in his wallet held the face of the woman he had loved, the mother of his child, who had passed away before little Lily could even grasp the meaning of death. And certainly, no one could have predicted that before the evening ended, one of the wealthiest women in the country would cross that packed ballroom and come to a stop right in front of him. Daniel had not wanted to come at all. His old college friend Michael had insisted, telling him that after everything he had endured, he deserved one night to forget his troubles and simply be around people again. Daniel had almost believed that promise. But the moment he stepped inside and saw the glittering gowns, the expensive jewelry, and overheard conversations about vacations that cost more than his yearly salary, he knew he had walked into a world that was not his own. By trade, he was a mechanic at a small garage on the outskirts of town, and his earnings barely stretched to cover rent, groceries, his daughter's school costs, and the mounting medical bills left behind after his wife's illness. His 6-year-old daughter Lily was spending the evening with his elderly mother, and Daniel had made a private vow to leave early. He did not care about drinking or pretending to be successful. He simply wanted to offer his congratulations to his friend and go home. Daniel found a quiet spot near a tall window overlooking the garden and sat there while Michael's wedding guests laughed and celebrated all around him. Waiters carried silver trays from table to table, and Daniel smiled whenever someone glanced his way, yet no one ever came over. Eventually, he stopped trying to appear comfortable and just stared out into the dark garden. Then something unexpected unfolded. An older woman in an elegant deep green dress entered the ballroom, and instantly every head turned. Her name was Eleanor Harrington, a billionaire known across the business world for building one of the largest transportation companies in the country. She was in her early 60s, confident and graceful, and famously private. A wave of whispers rippled through the room as she made her way past tables full of influential people, with executives and socialites practically leaping aside to make room. But Eleanor was not looking at them. Her gaze was fixed directly on Daniel. He noticed her approaching, yet he assumed she was heading somewhere else entirely. When she stopped right in front of him, he actually looked behind himself in confusion. Eleanor reached into a small folder she carried and pulled out an old black and white photograph. The expression on Daniel's face changed instantly. The picture showed a damaged roadside car, and beside it stood a younger man assisting an injured woman. Daniel recognized that image at once. 3 years earlier, on a bitter winter night, he had been driving home when he witnessed a terrible accident on an empty highway. A luxury car had smashed through a barrier. While other drivers had simply passed by, Daniel had stopped, pulled the injured woman from the wreck, covered her with his own coat, called emergency services, and stayed beside her until the ambulance arrived. He had never learned her name. He simply returned home afterward because Lily was waiting for him. Eleanor gently placed the photograph into his hands. That injured woman, she explained, had been her daughter. Daniel stared at the picture, completely stunned. Eleanor told him that her daughter had survived because a stranger refused to leave her alone in the freezing cold. The police had searched for the man who saved her, but the only clues they had were a partial description and the registration number from Daniel's old truck, and the search eventually stalled because Daniel had moved after losing his home. Eleanor had never forgotten that stranger, yet there was something more. Her daughter had told her that the man who saved her kept repeating the same phrase while they waited for the ambulance, that he could not leave her because somebody somewhere was waiting for him too. Daniel remembered saying those words. He had been thinking about Lily. Tears filled Eleanor's eyes as she shared that her daughter had recovered, married, and now enjoyed a healthy life with her own family, but Eleanor herself had spent years searching for the man who had saved her. Daniel looked down at the photograph, overcome with emotion. He had never expected any reward, never imagined that one night of doing what he believed was right would return to him years later. But Eleanor was not finished. She had learned about Daniel's struggles after finally tracking him down. She knew about his wife's death, his financial hardships, and the fact that he had turned down several offers of charity because he insisted on providing for Lily himself. She did not offer him pity. Instead, she offered him an opportunity. Eleanor's company was expanding its vehicle maintenance division, and she wanted Daniel to lead a new community-based repair program designed to deliver affordable transportation repairs to struggling families. She had reviewed his work record and discovered something remarkable, that despite his circumstances, Daniel had never abandoned his principles. The position came with a salary that could completely alter his life. Daniel struggled to accept it. He was not used to people helping him without expecting something in return. Eleanor understood completely. She told him that she was not paying him for saving her daughter, but rather offering him a chance because she had seen the kind of man he truly was when nobody was watching. That statement broke something deep inside Daniel. For years he had believed that his sacrifices went unnoticed, that his exhaustion, his skipped meals, his late nights repairing broken cars, and his cheerful smile for Lily even when he was terrified about the future, all of it was invisible to the world. Yet that night, for the very first time, someone truly saw him. Months later, Daniel's life had transformed completely. He moved Lily into a safe new home, paid off the medical debts, and accepted the position Eleanor had offered. Yet the most meaningful change was not the money. Daniel began hiring people who had been overlooked just as he once had: single parents, older mechanics, workers who had lost everything, and young people who simply needed someone to believe in them. Whenever anyone asked why he cared so much, Daniel always remembered that evening at the wedding. He had arrived feeling invisible, but he left knowing that sometimes the quietest people in the corner carry the most extraordinary stories. And Eleanor never forgot him either. Each year, on the anniversary of that accident, she and Daniel visited the roadside where everything began. They placed flowers there and remembered the simple truth that altered both of their lives. Kindness given without any expectation can travel farther than we ever imagine. If this story touched your heart, please like the video, share it with someone who believes in kindness, and subscribe to this channel for more emotional stories that remind us of hope, courage, and second chances. Before we finish, leave a comment saying, "Kindness always finds its way back," if you believe that one good act can truly change a life. Because sometimes, the person sitting alone at a wedding is not lonely because they have nothing to offer, but simply because they are waiting for someone to finally recognize their worth.